Happy Friday. It is the Paul Harrell program. We got a great show for you. We've got segments like trans women are men. We've got a new segment, Ballot Bandits. We got to talk about all kinds of stuff. Did you see the O'Keefe thing? That was crazy in Minnesota, this whole vouching system. I mean, it's just insane, folks. We also have a very interesting discussion yesterday between J.D. Vance, RFK Jr., announcing that there are people that are wolves in white coats. It's a great, by the way, great phrase, this new report out talking about how there's this massive profit incentive to mutilate the genitals of children, and they're talking about this in a big way, and it's got to happen. And we've got to push Congress to codify President Trump's executive order to save the kids in this. I mean, it's one of the main functions of government, to protect the innocent, and these innocent kids are being brainwashed. And so, huge news, I think, out of Washington, D.C. yesterday with Vance and RFK Jr. So we're going to talk about that. We got a great show for you, and we're here live from America, and the show starts right now.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting live from the great state of Arkansas. And I want you to know we can't do the program without you watching, listening every single day, wherever you're watching. If you're watching on Spotify, if you're listening on Apple, or you're on LFA, or the Rumble there, the YouTube there, the Paul Harrell Program, Rumble, X-American News, wherever you're watching, we really do appreciate it. Rob Spencer, my co-host, is back with us on this Friday morning. Rob.
Paul, it is an honor to be with you. Really exciting. So Friday. Everybody loves Fridays, and a lot of stuff to talk about. That James O'Keefe thing is just incredible. I think if that will continue to catch fire underneath that, I know we're going to talk about that, but that was just the most asinine thing. And what did I text last night? I was like, and they want the popular vote to decide these elections. Kiss my ass, because what you've got is just enormous amounts of fraud. We're going to talk about all of that. It's just mind-boggling. But he's back with us, folks.
Eric Haynes is back with us in seat number 3. Eric, my friend, how are you?
So great to be part of the conversation, everybody.
Dude, it's good to have you back. I know you've been busy working, providing for your family, but thank you for spending time with us this morning. First time you've made it in the new time slot. So round of applause.
It's a different energy this morning.
It is,
start
brother.
the day off like this. This is fantastic. I'm pumped.
Yep.
Well, it's going to be really great that you're here today of all days when we're talking about these gender mutilation surgeries for kids, because if you've watched our afternoon show, you guys know that Eric is in the medical field, and so how much he discloses of that, I'll leave up to him, but it'll be interesting to get his perspective.
Let's get right into it. Yesterday, we had this speech. This is one of the days where you can clearly say, well, okay, this is what I voted for. Now, I also voted for Congress to codify a lot of these executive actions, executive orders. So this is yet another function of the executive branch coming out, exposing all of this. J.D. Vance says, for years, some hospitals and healthcare providers have been subjecting children to horrific experimental treatments in the service of radical gender ideologies. Now, just think about that for a second. We are experimenting on our children. We're literally like Dr. Frankenstein, mad scientists, and we're not just talking about one person. We're not just talking about Dr. Jack Kevorkian, who was wanting to, do the assisted suicide thing or whatever, the euthanasia. We're not talking about that. We're talking about doctors all across the country that have bought into this. They could be living next door to you, and I don't mean to cause some sort of red scare, but it's incredible when you think about how widespread this actually has become. Not one or two, but it's a permissible form of thought accepted among the medical industrial complex that we are abusing and experimenting on children and calling it healthcare. That is incredible to me.
Yeah, and the bottom line is these hospitals, these these industries that are popping up, and I guess they're less prevalent these days because the environment is not as conducive to it. But let's be honest, the number of these clinics went from nothing to just booming across the country in places of all that you wouldn't expect it, like Texas. We're seeing these businesses in Texas, and I know that there's a ton of blue areas in these conservative states, but it was disgusting. These people have sold their soul to Satan in name of the almighty dollar, and they're trampling over children to get to that dollar. There's a special place in hell for people who will cut off healthy body parts of children, who will give them these hormones that permanently affect their ability to go through puberty. It is a lifelong decision, and I've said it before, and they say it's a simple example. We don't let 12-year-olds get tattoos. We don't. I have a lot of tattoos. My son likes them. He's 15. He's like, Dad, you got to let me get a tattoo. And I said, no, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to let you make a lifelong decision at the age of 15. I didn't get my first tattoo till I was in my 40s. It's, which I know I'm an anomaly on that. But regardless, we don't give kids the ability to have a tattoo. Why do kids have to have a parent's permission to get their ears pierced if they're under a certain age in most locations?
Yeah.
Okay? And we're giving them hormones to keep them from going through puberty? What the hell is wrong with these people?
I don't know. But that brings us to today's first segment, Trans Women Are Men. Here is J.D. Vance alongside RFK Jr. Speaking truth.
Hey everybody, this is Vice President J.D. Vance. I'm here with my friends and colleagues, of course, our great Health and Human Services Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Admiral Brian Christine, the Assistant Secretary for Health. Parents bring their children to doctors because they trust them. They trust doctors to tell them the truth, and they trust hospitals to put their children ahead of ideology and profit. But when that trust gets violated, parents deserve to have a government that will stand up for them and for their kids and do something about it. Today, the Trump administration is proud to announce we're doing exactly that.
Today, HHS released Wolves in White Coats, a report examining pediatric gender medicine and insurance building across America. The findings raise serious questions about what families were told, what insurers were told, and how these procedures were built.
Today, Secretary Kennedy and I referred hospitals and clinics identified by this review to the Department of Justice and the HHS Inspector General for possible violations of federal law. These allegations are crazy, and they demand investigation. When children may have been harmed and families misled, it's on those of us in power to find the truth and to seek justice for kids who were harmed by these doctors.
Under the previous administration, my predecessor, Richard Levine, promoted what he called gender-affirming care for minors.
Okay.
And there's nothing...
Levine was the
dude.
The dude.
I'm the first female.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Even though I have a penis.
He was nightmare fuel. He was the stuff nightmare. I remember the curly hair.
Scary.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, and he was our health, what was it? The health, whatever his title was, but it had health in it. And I was like, we're putting these freak shows in charge of the nation's health? What the hell? This is ideology gone amok, where you have let this mental disease infect not only your families, but you are letting it affect the nation. And this idiot had the balls, literally and figuratively, to come out and say that he was the first female such and such. Dude.
The Assistant Secretary for Health of the United States
Correct.
Department
There
of
it
Health
is.
and Human Services.
Thank you.
And he is absolutely. We really need to talk about what an upgrade this is. One second while because we're going to pull up you guys probably remember what he looks like. But the first image that comes up, oh my goodness.
God.
The first image that comes up is,
Listen.
it's like nightmare fuel. Look at this.
Okay.
It's just
Remember the Biden administration
terrifying.
making this like a glass ceiling moment? Like what an accomplishment.
Oh, yeah.
America.
Oh,
Ugh.
yeah. Look at this.
It reminds me like some weird combination of the Ghostbusters 2 painting guy. You know what I mean? Like, you will bring me a baby.
Oh yeah. I am Vigo.
I am Vigo.
Yeah. You will bring me a baby. And
Child and child.
Golly, I don't remember that movie that well. I think I watched it one time.
he kind of looks like that, just a little bit, you know.
He is a beagle.
Yes. This is why we miss Eric. This is why seat number 3 has to be filled.
Woo. Sorry, went off the rails.
Okay, back to this.
Nothing caring about that. These are sex-rejecting, mutilating, transgender procedures promoted by the Biden administration, and thanks to President Trump's leadership, we're changing course. The Wolves in White Coats report issued by my office at HHS examines a medical system that subjected children to profound interventions while serious questions remained about evidence, about informed consent, and about financial incentives. The report found more than 225 hospitals and health systems established pediatric gender programs nationwide where they preyed on vulnerable children and told families that their kids needed life-altering medical treatments, when what they really needed was compassion and counseling.
So many of these people got rich, not by doing what was good for the patient, but by actually mutilating these kids. It was disgraceful. And if someone broke the law, we are going to hold them accountable.
If the medical establishment failed children, we will confront that failure and restore the sacred duty to do no harm.
And if our public health institutions lost the trust of American families, we're going to earn it back with truth, with transparency, and with gold standard science.
Together, we're going to protect our children, and importantly, we're going to restore trust in public health. When you walk into the doctor's office, you have to know that they're going to do the best by yourselves, by your children, by your family. And we will hold accountable anyone who would betray that trust. We've got so many great doctors. We can't have a few bad doctors tarnish the whole lot. Thank you, everybody.
He's exactly right about the cascading failure of trust. I'm that way. I mean, you go into the doctor. I'm sorry. I don't trust, or I'm very skeptical of everything that I'm told, just because it's all been eroded, whether it's this or whether it's COVID or whatever, and that actually can make, in the long run, can actually make people less healthy. You know what I mean?
Well, and I also want to point out something, that this is not just happening in these gender, affirming, just to use their term, facilities. This is happening in everyday doctors' offices. We've seen countless reports, and there'll be a mom and she'll be doing a video and posting it on social media talking about something incredibly tragic just happened today at the doctor's office. I was taking my 14-year-old in for a routine checkup, or maybe whatever the case may be, and the nurse said, "Okay, Mom, if we can go ahead and step out." And she's like, no, I'm not going to be stepping out. Mm-hmm. She's like, well, I have some questions that I need to ask just her. And she goes, let me see your question book. And she said, well, these are just for her. And she said, let me look what's on your clipboard. And do you identify as another sex? They were going down there, and they didn't want to ask that in front of Mom. And I was like, this is the core of the problem, because you have trans kids who have mentally ill parents, because that's where it starts. These ideologically rotten people, they are infecting their kids. If you have a 3-year-old trans child, you, as the mom and the dad, if they're both involved, need to get your ass some medical help, and I'm talking mental medical help, or you need to have those kids taken away from you, because you are about to make lifelong negative impressions on that child.
Yep.
Is that as bad as beating a child?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is.
This is child abuse.
You're
It's under
talking
the
about
same
permanent
category.
scars, and even beating a child. Once that child gets out of that environment, their life may improve. They may be better for it. I'm not advocating for beating your children.
Not for the beating.
Not
but
for the beating.
You're saying
I'm saying that they use that as something to persevere. We've seen it.
Yeah, they can go.
They're like, I'll never do this to my kids.
They can
Great.
go get a wife. They can have a family
right.
of their own.
Exactly.
They're not.
But they're not permanently altered in the way that their body can now no longer do something that it was intended to do, which was go through puberty. Okay, now there's still hurt, there's still emotional scars, there's mental scars, all of that stuff. Maybe it's a bad analogy, but regardless, this stuff is happening with mentally ill liberal parents that are doing this, and that is permeating out, and now they're trying to affect kids who come from conservative, sane parents.
Yeah.
Okay? That woman was like, what? No, you're not going to ask my underage daughter a question.
I've been in a lot of hospitals recently with family and stuff, and they've got it everywhere. It is a federal crime to assault, a healthcare worker or whatever. If they're trying to do that sort of thing, it's no wonder they've got those signs plastered everywhere now. Because it'd be very difficult for me to not just fly off the handle if I found out that was happening.
Eric, what do you think
to my child?
What do you think of this just from a medical perspective? Because one of the things they talked about is fraudulent billing, all of that stuff. Like, what are your thoughts, on this?
You're not going to change the ideology and mindset of some of these quack doctors that want to feel like that they're being part of like a solution to protect the trans kids and to then treat them and to do things to them, because in their mind they think they're right. We have to remember that they think that they're doing the right thing and that they're somehow justified and objective and taking care and providing care that no one else will do, and that there's some beacon and it puts a star in their crown or something like that for them. But it's the facilities, and that's why I'm glad that the whole point of this conversation was like, we're going to go after the hospitals and facilities that are doing these mutilation procedures, cut their funding, cut their spending.
But also refer them to the Department of Justice.
They're billing for things that are insane,
yes,
and they're not protected. They're doing terrible things, as we've talked about that are horrible. So that's where I'm really excited, because you're just not going to turn some crazy lib doctor into, okay, well, I guess I won't do that anymore. Like, no, they've been doing it because they can, and because there are nurses and scrub techs and circulators and anesthesiologists that are having to be a part of this, because the hospital is saying, this kid is on the surgery schedule for today. You will put them to sleep. You will assist.
That's a good point.
In these procedures. So
interesting.
It takes a whole lot more than just one quack surgeon that's the mutilator.
Yeah, the whole system has to be on board.
Every operating room I walk into, there's way more than just one person in that room.
Right.
There's a lot of people that are supposed to be advocates. There are specifically designated patient advocates in every single procedure. And in these places, that's why it's so good that they're going after them, is because that needs to be stopped.
Let me ask you this. They talked about DOJ referrals, right? So we're referring some of these people for criminal prosecution. And if you've got this quack doctor that is just going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that anymore, to your point, they still believe this. They still believe they're right. So, we like to talk about we need accountability for the intel oligarchy, and we're waiting on a lot of that. But, like, these doctors need to be prosecuted and had their licenses removed forever. I mean, how in the world could you ever? Oh, remember back, they get down, if they're going to continue practicing the next 20 years. Oh, remember that 10-year stint when I was mutilating kids? Oh, man,
how is chopping off healthy body parts doing no harm?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They need to go to jail. They very much need to go to jail, and the hospitals need to be financially ruined over this.
I think that
violates the Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
And if you're a 35-year-old woman who has had a couple of children, or maybe a 40-year-old woman has had a couple of children and wants to have some sort of cosmetic surgery, that's not what we're talking about, folks. We're talking about children.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing here, and they are. Can you imagine? To Eric's point, can you imagine being a conservative Christian nurse, surgical nurse?
That's what I was about to say.
In the operating room, and someone wheels a 14-year-old girl in there, and she's having what they call top surgery. Can you imagine? And she's having to prep this child for surgery.
Oh, I wouldn't do it.
And
I wouldn't do it. There's no way.
Sorry. And she likely has children of her own.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the dilemma that they are being put in? And so, and it starts at the top. There's some people that are probably supportive that's on that doctor's staff, but how many people aren't? And they may end up getting caught in the crossfire here, being a billing tech that's just her job is up there at this clinic, and it's to send it into insurance and make sure that the clinic gets paid and all of that stuff. And she's sending this stuff in, and then they raid that office because there's fraud. She's probably getting arrested too. Folks, this is a bigger thing, and it's all in the name of money.
This is the second paragraph. This is the referral to the DOJ. Unfortunately, children who express discomfort with their sex have become viewed as profit centers by some hospitals and doctors. As the HHS report notes, gender clinics have promised a new stream of continuous revenue for pediatrics, endocrinology, and surgical specialties by taking physiologically healthy young people who otherwise would not come to seek medical attention, though they might require mental health care, and rendering them dependent for life on the medical system, of which Big Pharma loves that. The vulnerable child, in other words, becomes a captive patient for life. Indeed, while the average health care spending for a child under the age of 18 is around $3,000 a patient, who begins transitioning as a minor can expect to pay $25,000 to $75,000 even without surgeries. When surgeries are included, lifetime spending can easily exceed $100,000 and approach $170,000.
There you go.
So
that right there is that bottom line is the lead. That's what it is. That is the feature of all of it, because that's what it's boiling down to at the end of the day.
Today, I am referring the HSS report and the allegations it contains to the Department of Justice to determine whether the providers identified have violated federal law, regulations, and policies, including but not limited to Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, False Claims Act, and federal fraud and conspiracy laws. Good grief. Let's go. I mean, let's go.
And guess
Put
what?
them in
that
jail.
Money can be pulled back, too.
Really?
It happens.
Really?
When bad billing and bad coding is done, insurance companies, the federal government can pull that money back as a penalty.
How far?
Up to, I think, 2 years.
Okay.
It can go back a little. It can go back a while.
Yeah.
Hospitals can fix their billing sometimes within like 60 to 90 days, but the government can come in and do pullbacks that can go back a while.
I didn't know that, but that's good that they can claw
That's
back.
why I'm so glad Eric's here today, because that is something I would have never thought about. Like, go back and take this money, and hopefully that surgeon.
Let's not only stop them, but let's pull a lot of this stuff back, a lot of this wasteful spending.
Hopefully that surgeon has to return that Ferrari.
Yeah. Speaking of dudes in dresses, Congressman Sarah McBride.
Tim McBride.
Yeah, this is Tim McBride. This is what he says.
Is this another Vigo?
Probably. Well, not quite. I don't know. We'll see.
A cultural regression in this moment, not just substantively, but in public opinion. Support for marriage is less today than it was 3 or 4 years ago. To your point, support on individual issues facing the trans community, on individual policies around trans rights, by every objective metric, is worse today than it was 5 years ago. Now, there's still many issues of trans rights that maintain public support, that have a majority of support. But even on those issues, it is less support today than it was 4 or 5 years ago. And there are a whole host of reasons for that. There is no question that a well-funded, well-coordinated, right-wing regressive movement has successfully pushed public opinion backwards.
Because we're never going to say you're normal. Sorry.
You have,
dude.
You have a penis.
Like, we're never going to say this. We're not going to bow down to this. We're not going to affirm it. We're never going to do it. You will have to kill us.
Exactly.
It's not ever going to happen.
Oh, they're the ones that drive around with the resist stickers. Oh, we're not it's not resistance. It's denial. It's denial of falsehoods. This man is dressed like a woman and has changed his name to Sarah and has been elected as the first trans person in Congress. And I guess
I got a few questions about. I think some of these Congress people may be in the closet. We just don't know.
Could be. You know, Cory
that
Booker.
old-
Cory
that-
Booker. The jury's still out on him.
Well, there's that old purple-haired lady that I thought was. I actually
woman
accidentally
is
said,
nuts.
I was like, "That's a man," and I thought it was legitimately he was.
Oh, that woman is cray
He
cray.
was legit, but I think she's a biological woman, but she just looks kind of masculine.
Bless her heart.
Dude, she's the kind of person that would be like the parents in the neighborhood would warn the kids not to walk past her house. And she is serving.
What is her name? Who is this woman that is in my head?
Crazy ass. I don't know.
I can't remember. You'll
but
know her
she's,
when you
but
see her.
she's that purple-haired
Old
lady.
purple-haired
Guys,
lady,
you'd see her. She's got the glasses and all that stuff.
She chaired a committee. For
Really
a while.
think she's a dude.
I still go back to if we were in 2010.
No.
Colorado?
I mistaked.
Oh,
I mean, I'm saying. I thought she was.
Yeah, I just if you would go back to 2010, you know, now 16 years ago, and take this clip back, like download this clip to your computer, carry that computer back, right, and play this to yourself or to any person,
right,
at that point. That's not already. I mean, I guess the trans stuff started, you know, a lot sooner, but it was. You know, it was actually changing your sex, you know, transvestite, transsexual, all of that stuff. But this, you wouldn't have believed this. That's my point. You would have just said, you've made this up. What kind of fangled this is this? This is not real.
Well, it's actually surprisingly consistent for the trans people, you know, because they're living a delusion. This man here is telling us that us rejecting the trans insanity is some organized right-wing effort. I mean, so their delusion is producing more delusion because it's really not that organized. And that's what Last Refuge says, is that, you know, when your sexually deviant cult started cutting cutting of children's penises and breasts and then shouting, screaming, and eventually shooting at people who disagreed with the mutilation, meaning the trans terrorism that we've seen, that's not a right-wing created issue.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally you guys exposing yourselves as crazy people and the majority of normal people saying, we don't agree with your craziness.
Yeah, just reading some of the comments here. You might want to check your voice, lady. It sounds a little raspy. That's from JP Lotto there.
There's no question that a well-funded, well-coordinated right-wing progressive.
Right wing. It's us. It's not the people living in dream world. Arbev Mo need a building boom of Arkham Alcatrazes. There we go.
Dude, Arkham Asylum.
Yeah,
Yes, maybe
a good idea.
Maybe all of the renditions of Batman and Arkham have really just all of the Batman villains are actually
so what
trans.
we're gonna have. Amos,
the Joker, trans.
There you go.
The Riddler, trans. Scarecrow,
everybody's trans.
Trans.
It's what Bill Maher said.
Lock him up.
We're all going to be gay in 30 years. Amos Moses, 1776. An ugly man makes an even uglier woman. I agree with that. If you have a dick, you're not a chick. All right. Sorry, we're probably getting censored today, but all good. We've already done it. We've already got the label. So anyway, a lot of these ladies, where were they saying she was from? I saw that Delaware,
Delario,
purple hair.
She's Connecticut.
Connecticut.
And
That makes
here's
sense.
the funny thing about her.
Yeah.
She's on the appropriations. She's the ranking member of the appropriations committee
Lord.
in Congress. So she sits up there. I've seen like Rubio. I've seen Hegseth and her line of questioning. It's comical. It's so bad and uninformed. Like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. So she just tries these gotcha comments to guys like that and to folks like that are in front of her.
She needs better
and
staff.
They just nail her.
Yeah, I mean, and
I'm glad they do too.
Well, it reminds me of the dude that thought, was it Guam was going to tip over?
That would be Hank Capsized Johnson. That's what I call him.
Yeah, and Cory
My
Bush.
concern is that Guam will become so overly populated that it would tip over and capsize.
And the professional guy there, you know, whatever he was testifying for, he was
testifying to an admiral, and the admiral kept a straight face the whole time. It was like, well, to your point, sir, we don't anticipate that happening.
That's currently not on our radar of concerns, that an island is going to tip over. So I mean, and that's who the Democrats are sending to office. You know, that's the kind of this crazy ass purple haired lady, this dude who thinks he's a woman, Hank Johnson that thinks people are going to tip over, Cori Bush. I hate it that she's out of Congress because she was so easy to make fun of, and now Jasmine Ghetto Crockett, who is going to be out of Congress soon. Yep. You know, I'm going to miss making fun, but these are the people that the Democrats are sending to office, guys. And we can make fun of it all we want to, but they are representing, you know, what is it,
the Indian 750,000
people?
Too, remember?
Yep.
What was his name? Thrasher.
Oh, he lost. Yeah.
Fandahar. He was like the final boss. Yeah. So Fandahar was,
and he wasn't even smiling.
It was terrible. He looked like Chris Kattan.
Dude, he was a walking joke.
Eyebrows.
Yeah. He was like
from Mongo.
If there was an Indian version of Punch Out, you know, the old Nintendo game, he'd be the final boss.
Or Mr. Peepers. That's what he looked like. He looked like Mr. Peepers from
Saturday There you go. Yeah, so, and you know, some of those people have lost, such as Cori Bush, that I keep bringing up, and Jasmine Crockett being bumped out. But Aaron Noble, 0112, Hank has been reelected numerous times since the Guam comment, which is unreal. And that's true because that's an older clip.
Oh, it's very old. It's like 15 years old.
Yeah. This dude, and that's who they're sending. So it just blows my mind.
It's this greatest thing. Like, that's the dumbest man in Congress.
Brandon Gill goes after him all the time. They're always on the same committees or something like that.
Yeah.
And Gill just roasts him every
Dude,
time.
have you ever, you know, I've talked about J.D. Vance and how he's really hard to shake in a contentious interview. It's really, I mean, it's almost next to impossible to get him. Have you ever seen Brandon Gill get thrown?
No.
I mean, he is
never.
He is a mildly spoken assassin.
Absolutely.
That's what he does. This liberal hack will be sitting in front of him testifying. That the best one, the most epic one was the abortion one.
Yes.
You know, when he goes, "Is that your favorite method of abortion?" And he goes, "Oh, well, we'll just go through some of these methods," and talked about the grotesque, and he described it, and he's like, "Do you prefer that method?" And she's like, I just revert to my former statement there. I'm like, this is a la Bill Clinton here, you know, in the 90s. But anyway, we need more people like, you know, these Brandon Gills and less people like these Hank Johnsons.
100%, folks. Now it is time for our newest segments that we're affectionately calling Ballot Bandits.
I haven't seen this crap.
All right, so for this edition of Ballot Bandits, we are going to go to James O'Keefe.
Now, Paul?
Yes, what's up?
Did you notice that AI made all of the bandits white?
Yes. I did notice this. That's hilarious that you brought that up. I did notice this. I threw this segment together in less than an hour when I got here this morning. So I may revisit it and try to, but I'm pretty sure some of these AI prompts are not going to like it. If like, make sure they're Somali, make sure they're black.
That's what I'm saying.
It's going to be like, have a heart attack, stroke out right there.
Right. So. Listen, it's in this case with ballots, it's not going to be black people that's doing that. It's going to be lunatic leftists. Okay, but I don't think it's going to be like.
I did notice that they were all white.
I don't think it's going to be like 25-year-old white guys.
Yeah,
you know?
I did notice
that.
Anyway, but here it is. James O'Keefe, man, has this new.
Okay, let me ask you guys.
Set this up for us.
Have y'all? All right, so I watched quite a bit of this, and. He's got a really good, I'm just going to say Arab accent. Okay. Okay.
But look at the guy.
Look at him.
He doesn't look Arab at all,
obviously a white dude. And he purposefully, and I think he purposefully wore white because, you know, when you wear white, it makes you less, you know, you can't really tell how pale you are versus if you wear a black shirt and you haven't had a tan at all, you just look ghost white. Well, anyway, I think that was intentional. But if you've not seen this, he is going to go up to a poll or to a polling station, correct? And he's going to cast votes. And this, I guess, was in the recent Minnesota primaries. Okay, and he is going to vouch for these other 8 people.
So in Minnesota, the policy is that if you're not registered to vote, one of the residents of the precinct can vouch for up to 8 people, and you get a vote.
With no ID.
With no ID.
With no ID.
It is literally insane. That's why this commenter up here, I kept this comment. I'm no longer confused how Ilhan Omar managed to get reelected in the primary.
For sure. Yeah. And so what you're going to see is him go in here with a really convincing accent, but just the ridiculousness of it. So and I want you to think about it through this lens. I think I may have prefaced it in the opening. I can't remember if I talked about it on air or off air, but look at it through the lens of, and these are the same Democrats who want presidents, all of that stuff on popular vote.
And eliminate the Electoral College.
And get rid of the Electoral College. That's what they're wanting to do. Conservative red states with ID are the only thing that is keeping this constitutional republic together. I'm going to say it again. Conservative red states who ID at these polling stations, they are the only thing that is maintaining our constitutional republic. And states like Minnesota, with this complete garbage, need to be called out, and it needs to be corrected.
Yeah.
Or what right does Minnesota have to send elected officials to the Congress?
Well, let's watch it, and let's come back to that question. Right. What right does Minnesota have to send elected officials to Congress? We're going to come back to that question because I'm glad that's where you went. That's where I was going with it.
I'm James O'Keefe, and this is vouching for 7 other Muslims at a Minneapolis polling booth.
Going into this location, and I'm going to say that I'm vouching for them. The name is William Lawrence.
The question about the vouching program, vouching. I can vouch for them, but they are not registered. That's okay, that's fine. Can I bring 5 more from up to 8 people? Okay, that's a good thing. We go back and we get Krishna and Ernesto and Mohammed.
In Minnesota, you can show up on Election Day and vouch for up to 8 unregistered voters. Members of the Justice League dress up in traditional Muslim attire, including a transgender wearing a burqa, and put this vouching law to an extreme test on primary day, August 11th.
Gonna be a baller, shot caller, 20-inch blade.
This is like OG. This is kind of OG O'Keefe going back to where he exposed Acorn by dressing up like a pimp.
Yeah.
With his friend Hannah Giles, I think, or Giles.
Vouching.
You're vouching for.
I vouch for them.
Oh, great.
Is that okay?
Yes.
How does that work?
Well, if you're all in the same precinct,
yes,
and you are already registered, which it looks like you are, then you can vouch for them as ID for them.
Oh, good.
She says to me, I say they do not need ID. She says, you are the ID.
He is the ID.
See, I am the ID.
And no ID needed. I just vouch for them.
Well, you're the ID.
I am the ID. That's good. How many people may I vouch for?
8.
8?
I thought it was 6. 8.
I can vouch for 8 people. 8 people, no ID. We come right back. Thank you.
Most poll workers we visited were willing to let us vouch with no questions asked, even when presented with the most absurd situation imaginable. While other poll workers did take issue with our investigation, revealing their awareness that something about this vouching system is deeply flawed or wrong. Yet for some reason, they don't want us to expose it.
I can't have her see me.
Get down.
Baller, I'm a 20-inch crawler, blaze on them Impala, diamond rock waller.
In Minnesota, voters can vouch for up to 8 of their unregistered friends. At the polling place, a registered voter from the same precinct signs an oath confirming that they personally know the voter lives there.
Yes.
This allows someone without ID to register and vote. And employees of residential facilities may vouch for an unlimited number of facility residents to vote at the facility's address. That's right, an unlimited number. While proponents emphasize that the policy expands ballot access for recent movers and senior citizens, critics view it as a potential for fraud. For example, if a voucher were to lie on this contract and allow 8 of his ineligible friends to vote, and the results of that election are announced on the same day, what happens when the oath is further investigated and it is discovered that those vouched for votes shouldn't have been counted? The results of the election will have already been announced and enacted by that point. This document shows that the election workers simply circle a number of the vouchees. There's no other identifying information. And Scott Pressler from the
They don't even know who they are.
Early Vote Action says there is no list of these vouchee voters
That
anywhere.
is insane.
When he requested them from
That
areas
is
like Duluth.
insane.
The
They don't
vouchee
even
voters.
make them even make up a name. At least make up a name.
Make
no,
up a
it's
name.
just a number. This guy brought in 8 of his buddies, and so that's 9 votes right there.
Well, let's just be honest. James O'Keefe doesn't live in Minnesota.
What did he say his name was? William Wallace?
Yeah, Pomerantz or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
He went in, didn't he go in
Yeah.
and say he was Marshall Mathers, Eminem? You were telling me about
Oh, I
that
didn't
last
see that.
week. He went to another place.
No, that was a totally different guy. That wasn't
different?
James O'Keefe.
Oh, some other guy went as Marshall Mathers.
Yeah, he went in Detroit and he registered to vote in Detroit. And he acted like he had a call right before he was about to be handed his ballot. He's like, "Oh, I got this call. I'll be right back," because he didn't want to commit voter fraud.
Right.
But he proved that he could do it. And this is James O'Keefe. I don't know what the outcome was.
If this gets enough press, this could be a big problem for the chick that married her brother.
Ilhan Olmar.
Oh, she's just going to say this is racism.
Your question, though, what right does Minnesota have to representation? Because this is an example where I think every other state that would take issue with it, Arkansas, Tennessee, wherever you're at, is going to has the ability to show cause, to show harm, because if that is the way they're running their voting system, and we've all agreed that we're going to have a democratic process to maintain our republic, and then they're lying about it, I feel like wars have been fought over less. I think if we were in any other iteration in world history, there'd be states that would be like, oh, okay, the militia's being called up. We got to go liberate Minnesota because they're a bunch of lying crooks up there. Muster the Rohirrim. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah. This is the 2 little boys from Ricky Bobby running around screaming anarchy, anarchy. Like, come on.
I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
I mean, this is ridiculous. Import a bunch of Muslims and then literally just.
Do we say only in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
do we rationalize this as like, well, only in Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean,
or not?
Obviously we know illegals are voting in all of these blue states in different capacities, but in terms of this specific policy, this is the only one I could find. The only state I could find that is this bad.
Egregious.
Like even Arkansas has a vouching. We have a vouching program when it comes to. Like nursing homes, like a nursing home.
They don't have a driver's license.
A nursing home administrator has the ability. There is at least a process for them to vouch for their patients, which that could easily be abused too.
Absolutely.
I feel like, but in terms of just some random guy showing up with 8 of his buddies that don't even have to sign their names. No, it is only Minnesota doing this.
Let's be honest. Let's look at it from a different perspective. I'm pretty sure James O'Keefe could have visited multiple polling locations and cast votes. Just make up a different name the next time you go. Just make up a different name.
He did go to multiple locations. Yeah. Now, he didn't cast votes. That'd be crazy illegal.
They would go after him for that.
Trouble for that. But just the fact that he walked in there, they told him he could, and he was like, okay, we'll be back with 5 more.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Like he
get Muhammad.
brought a couple or 3 people with him and was like, we will go get more. We'll be right back. Like just the fact that he was going to be allowed to do that.
Yeah, folks, it's 2026.
Wild.
And with all of the technology that we have available to us, this level of fraud, this particular fraud is happening on paper.
Yeah.
Right? You're just walking in there. I'm such and such, and I got 8 buddies with me that we live in the same house. We live in the same house. And so if we're naive if we think this is only happening in Minnesota. Now, it may be a different avenue for the fraud in a different state, but this is absolutely happening, especially, I mean, it's probably happening in some forms in these red states, because you have these heavily blue areas, and I'm not naive enough to say that Republicans don't cheat.
Yeah.
I would surmise that cheating is on it would be a microscopic level compared to what we've seen out of the Democrats. I've just said it so many times on this show. We're not a 50-50 country. I don't see enough from the left because let's be honest, like you'll have the left and the right fighting on social media right? They'll be on this post. They'll be arguing underneath it, and you'll maybe 50-50, whatever. How many people, conservative people on the right, sit it out?
A ton.
Tons sit out.
That's
10 years
they're
ago,
called the silent majority.
there you go. 10 years ago, you couldn't jump in because if you came out and supported Trump in any way during Trump 1.0, like his lead up to that first election, oh my gosh, people were getting fired. You were evil. You're racist. You were doing all of that stuff. And those terms actually had some meaning back then. Call me racist now. I don't give a damn. But that had some meaning there. So we've got all of these people that are fighting, and that looks to be about 50-50. And then, of course, you've got all these people that just aren't saying anything. They just keep scrolling. And those people, I believe, are on the right, or most of them are. You're going to have some sensible center-left people that just like, oh, gosh, both sides are crazy here. I'm just going on. That's going to happen. But anyway, I'm rambling. This fraud is happening in every state, and it's happening in blue states. I do not believe we are a 50-50 country. I don't believe that Minnesota is 60-40. I don't believe it's a 60-40 state. I believe that there are more conservatives in Minnesota than there are liberals, and if they could ever get this hammered down where they made some, especially the ones that they're sending to Congress. What the hell ever you do in your own state, okay, well, at the state level, but for those representatives, there has to be checks and balances. Save America Act was one attempt at that, but we'll see.
This report by O'Keefe is just another example that more ammunition that it gives to a federal government that is, a right-wing government, and you have an opportunity here to make the modern iteration of the Democrat Party illegal by throwing people in jail and going after them for this obvious fraud. The question is, will you do it? For the good of the people of Minnesota, I believe it's the federal government's obligation to do it. It is the loving thing to do to punish these wicked, evil people that are committing this fraud just to get what they want. Imagine how many of the country's tax dollars go to Minnesota because they're voting for leftists that are going to, spend more tax dollars or whatever. The fact is, the whole country's disenfranchised if this is what goes on. The whole country's disenfranchised because of what California does and how they run their election systems.
Yeah.
And I know states are I know states are in charge of that, but when you have blatant fraud that is going on, the federal government now has to protect the union, because otherwise it goes on and on and on, and eventually you have lawlessness and chaos everywhere.
Correct.
And that's what we're going to find. We're going to find that that's spreading everywhere. Speaking of lawlessness, we've got another segment. This is a good one, and it's very relevant. Really good news for our Second Amendment rights.
Yeah, Illinois is another state. Real quickly, somebody brought it up in the comments. Illinois,
it's gerrymandered.
Yeah, and when you look at that voting, the carve out that they did, it's I don't know how that's not illegal.
Now it's time for From My Cold Dead Hands. All right, so here's the deal. Back in the year 1934, there was something called the National Firearms Act, okay? And what it did was required registration, ATF approval, fingerprints, photographs, and related record keeping for certain items. One of those items would be a suppressor, otherwise what Hollywood would call a silencer. Of course, they're not actually silencer. They're actually still pretty loud.
Yeah.
But they are not as loud, right? But Hollywood just is like, pew, pew. It's like, no, it's actually much louder than that. But that's the way Hollywood makes their movies. So silencers suppressors have been heavily regulated. If you want one, man, you got to move an arm and a leg to get it. You got to go. It's a lot harder to get a suppressor than it is to get an actual gun.
I had to set up a trust in my child's name. I had to hire a lawyer to set up a trust. I had to do fingerprints at the highway patrol station. I had to send in for stamps from the federal government to apply. And this is like hundreds and hundreds of dollars that you've got to spend just to be able to try to, in the best way possible, legally apply to get one.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Hopefully.
It's insane. So, in the One Big Beautiful Bill that was signed into law July 4th of last year, It actually reduced making, because the reason this was legal, you say, how is this legal? Well, the reason it was legal is because Congress claimed that this was done under their taxing powers. So there was a $200 making/transfer tax when you applied for one of these suppressors. So it was challenged, and they said, well, it's a tax, and the Congress can tax whatever they want. That's in their Article 1 powers. Mm-hmm. Well, the problem is in 2025, the one big beautiful bill, and this is not a problem, this is great, it eliminated the tax. So it brought it to zero. So now, functionally, practically, what you had was a situation where you had to register without a tax, meaning it's just a forced firearm registry or a firearm accessory registry.
Yep.
So there was a lawsuit. Plaintiffs argued that once the tax no longer generated revenue, the remaining registration and approval requirements lost their constitutional foundation under the taxing clause and could not be sustained under the necessary and proper or commerce clause because Congress had enacted the NFA exclusively as a tax measure, and the court agreed, and the court ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, and then put like a stay on the decision to give the government time to appeal. That expired yesterday. The DOJ, the Trump DOJ, did not appeal, and so now people even videoing themselves making sales of suppressors for the first time without having to do these extra forms and fingerprints and everything else.
Almost like the end of Prohibition, where everybody was just like running out with their bottles of whiskey.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So here are the plaintiffs in the case to show them some love. The Silencer Shop Foundation versus ATF. So Silencer Shop, obviously they are, they sell silencers. Gun Owners of America, hats off to Gun Owners of America. Gun Owners Foundation, the Palmetto State Armory, Silencer Co., Weapons Research, B&T USA, Firearms Regulatory Accountability Coalition, then a whole list of individuals. And so this was a big deal. The defendants, of course, were the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and the U.S. Department of Justice. So I asked, I was just curious about this. Practically speaking, what does this mean now? In terms of a practical sense, what does it exactly mean? It means that for many average Americans now, if you're in the right states, states that don't have any regulations of their own against silencers, which is like 27 states, I think, that are free and clear, you can now buy a silencer, is basically what it means. As a matter of fact, let's see here. I want to make sure I get this right. 27 states, Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. If you buy from Silencer Shop, you're good to go because this was not a nationwide injunction. But if I'm even told if you're a member of the Gun Owners of America organization, you're covered. You just got to be affiliated. You got to either buy from them, from Silencer Shop, which they're about to make a lot of money, or any local silencer, or you got to be a Gun Owners of America. You're good to go now. And you can do this without having to go through all the paperwork.
It was refreshing there as well to see some blue states, such as Vermont.
Oh, they're going to be regulating it really quick.
Yeah,
I would imagine. So here is the first transfer. I'll throw this up on the screen. People are celebrating this as they should celebrate this. Take a watch.
These are the first two silencers without registration in over 90 years.
90 years.
Wow.
Tonight, Gun Owners of America and Silencer Shop are celebrating with the first legal transfer of an unregistered suppressor from a gun shop, first time in over 90 years. This is an exciting night.
Dude, those guys
what we're doing here today is frankly incredible. This is just another step in the right direction, showing that it's not enough.
A lot of millionaires were made yesterday.
It is a big deal.
I'm
now,
just being objective.
I think that's good. Here's the thing. Sean Davis says, as I reported earlier this week, multiple Trump administration sources tell me that a man named Brett Shoemate, who runs the DOJ Civil Division, is the DOJ official behind efforts to appeal this suppressor NFA decision and force continued registration of suppressors. This statement suggests Shoemate is still actively trying to knife Gun Owners of America, Palmetto State Armory, Silencer Shop, and the Second Amendment. There's now rumors that this is actually what's going on. This is Chris Cameron saying, asked about this tweet, the Justice Department specifies in an unsigned statement, not saying the case is different than not appealing. We are not going to stay the case. And and this is from Representative Andrew Clyde, I've received confirmation from the Trump administration the DOJ will not appeal our historic victory. This is just showing that there are some, according to some reports, Sean Davis, they're saying that it's great that they didn't appeal, but they're saying that there are people in the administration, I'll go ahead and call them career communists that just, won't take a hint, that don't want this to happen. Now, we covered a story several months ago over at Zero Hedge talking about how the administration, the DOJ in particular, was dropping the ball by not pursuing certain cases that were in the hopper that they should have pursued so that we would get a judge's ruling on it and establish precedent. The DOJ was actually dropping a lot of cases, not getting the decisions that, meaning the stupid lawsuits that Biden had done, the DOJ should have continued them under Trump so that we got a conservative ruling and shut that down. The communists in the DOJ were just saying, we're going to drop it now because you're waiting on a new administration. Okay? This is an example of the DOJ pursuing this, right? Going along with it, getting this ruling, and now you have more rights right now when it comes to the Second Amendment than you did yesterday. Or did 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So it's a celebration, folks, from my cold, dead hands.
From my cold Pharaoh, let my people go.
Amen. Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Oh, Moses.
Give the Hebrews their guns.
I watch it. Listen, I watch it every year. My wife.
We do too.
Yeah.
The
Ten Commandments. My wife doesn't really care for it. She's just like,
how?
She
love it.
loves The Chosen. That's like she is a huge fan of The Chosen. So, hey, so somebody's asked several times in the comments here and about what's going to happen next week. And so I know our LFA audience we're about to lose them in real time. They'll catch the second hour of the show, and I believe this is Sean's final.
Yeah, we're about
day.
to hand it off to Sean here in 2 minutes. It looks like.
Yeah, it's been an honor to hand it off to Sean for these last week and a half, whatever this has been. He's great. I love watching his show, and we'll definitely catch him on Bongino. But the answer to your question is, as far as we know, working with Jeremy, he's been great. We love working with Jeremy. And as far as we know, starting Monday, our 2 hours will air straight on LFA, and we will lead right into the boss, Jeremy Harrell, his show at whatever it's 10 o'clock Central for us, but whatever time you guys are watching, Jeremy.
Yeah.
So that's we're really excited about that. We're really excited about that, and we're really glad for our LFA audience. Happy for Sean and all that stuff. So.
We're excited. I mean, I'm really digging the new time slot. It took me about a week to kind of adjust my sleep schedule, but feeling good now. I like it. I don't feel as guilty about drinking massive amounts of caffeine in the morning as I felt a little. You're like, man, it's like 3 or 4 o'clock. I don't need to be drinking all this caffeine. It's just like the end of the day. But sometimes you're doing it because you got to pep yourself up. You got to get through it. So.
I want to ask for one favor real quick. If you have an opportunity on social media, please keep sharing that James O'Keefe thing because we need that to completely blow up even more than what it already is.
I want to remind everybody that the Paul Harrell program is powered by the Healing Veterans Project. Go to the Healing Veterans Project. Email me, Paul at healingveteransproject.us, Paul at healingveteransproject.us. We want to partner with businesses to give veterans red light therapy that they desperately need that's been prescribed by a doctor, but the VA won't cover it. healingveteransproject.us, or you can do an individual donation, scan the QR code, and help veterans get well today. Hour number 2 is going to commence here in just a moment. Until then, we'll hand it off to Sean Farish. God bless everybody out there watching. Don't forget, go to church this weekend.
The Paul Harrell Program.
centuries, light has been used to heal. Awaken the body with Red 5.
The other things that we're seeing, more and more use for is even vascular issues. So one of the mechanisms that red light, near-infrared light, or Red 5 works is stimulation of the mitochondria and stimulation of nitric oxide production. So when nitric oxide is released in cells, it vasodilates cells. It reduces inflammation. It moves blood. It brings blood flow to areas. So folks that have issues with ulcers or burns or wounds, it can help stimulate increased blood supply, and you need blood to heal. So that can open up different avenues for peripheral artery disease, for neuropathic pain syndromes. And so that's one of the other areas for nerve injury or nerve pain that we can leverage this type of medicine.
This is our family dog, Bubba. He is a Shorty Jack Russell, and he brings a lot of love and laughter into our home. We just want to thank Pet Club for making healthy food and treats for our animals. Bubba has been on Pet Club food for a little over a year now. He really likes the Sequoia dry food, and then I put a scoop of the Sequoia wet dog food in there with some hot water and stir it up, and he absolutely loves it. And he likes the mush puppies, but his ultimate favorite is the antlers. Those keep him busy for a really long time, and he really likes them. It makes us feel really good that the food and treats that we give him have healthy ingredients in them, because we want him to be around for a really long time. Our previous dog was a lab, and his name was Titus, and we fed him in bulk, and we would just get his food from the big box grocery stores. And unfortunately, that food wasn't very healthy for him, and he ended up getting cancer and passing away. So we didn't want to make that mistake with Bubba, so we were really fortunate to find Pet Club and find some really healthy food for him to eat. So we would just like to thank Pet Club, and we just really appreciate the healthy food that they make, so we can keep this guy around as long as we can.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night, and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
Now for the lowest price ever. Kings, $19.98. Queens, only $18.98. And Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, for as low as $29.98. Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept! Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But that's not all. Order right now and we'll ship your order absolutely free.
The Paul Harrell Program.
Welcome back to the show, folks. His mic is off. His camera is on. Eric Haynes is still with us, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Spencer had to jet for the second hour, but we appreciate his contributions. Let me get this music out of here. Broadcasting live from the state of Arkansas, it is hour number 2 of the Paul Harrell program, and we're really glad that you're with us. We've had, I think, a productive first hour covering the good news out of HHS Vice President J.D. Vance calling these people wolves in sheep's clothing, wolves in white coats. Really good report out there, and hopefully the DOJ is going to arrest some doctors that have been mutilating kids and abusing them and experimenting on them. That would be great. Then last hour we also covered the ballot bandits segment and what James O'Keefe uncovered when it comes to the Minnesota vouching law, where you can just show up to a polling place, and as long as you're a registered voter, you can get 8 of your friends that are not registered to vote that day, and they take your word for it. And I can't believe you don't even have to write the names of the people down. They just say, oh, he brought 8 of his buddies, and they voted, and everything's good. Then, of course, we talked about For My Cold Dead Hands, which was the great news about silencers and suppressors. Now you can buy and sell those without all of these documents that you had to do, the extra steps in order to secure your rights, all for an accessory. That still is, makes it fairly loud. One quick follow-up on the Second Amendment segment from My Cold Dead Hands would be this. One second. Let me fix our camera angle here. I always forget to do this. There we go. Got to put Eric in there. Gun Owners of America says the Justice Department concedes that Americans can carry in the United States Postal Service building under the lawful purposes exception to the federal carry ban in 18 U.S. Code 930. DOJ's reasoning is very broad and could result in public carry in many other federal facilities. Let's read this real quick, just so you're aware of what the government says your rights are on this particular day. Congress has passed at least 9 different statutes that bar or have been interpreted to bar otherwise law-abiding citizens from carrying weapons into designated locations. It has also empowered the Department of Homeland Security, as well as individual federal agencies, to regulate who may enter the buildings that they own and operate. Many of those agencies have opted to bar weapons from their facilities and grounds, either explicitly by regulation or implicitly by closing their facilities to the public. Let's see here. Let me read this full story here. Here we go. You have asked whether one of these restrictions, codified 18 U.S. Section C, is best read to impose criminal penalties on an otherwise law-abiding individual who carries a weapon in a post office for the purpose of self-defense. We could have significant constitutional concerns if Congress had created such a blanket ban on the lawful carrying of constitutionality-protected arms into a building frequented by the public since the founding. But we ultimately need not reach that issue here, as Congress has exempted the lawful carrying of firearms or other dangerous weapons incident to hunting and other lawful purposes, because carrying arms for self-defense when entering a building held open to the public is a paradigmatic lawful purpose. That exception permits the lawful carrying of constitutionally protected firearms in post offices. So our federal government today telling gun owners of America, thanks again, hats off to gun owners of America.
Yeah.
Hat tip to them. And I'm really glad to see gun owners of America kind of peaking here, because there was a lot of people don't know this, but when you think of gun owners and gun rights, you think of the NRA.
Mm-hmm.
But Eric, you may know this, but we fought the NRA here in Arkansas because the reason we fought the NRA is because they were not wanting permitless carry for some reason. They had this northern model. And we had the votes to get constitutional carry, to strengthen constitutional carry in Arkansas, and we were getting pushback back in the day from the local reps here at the NRA. Gun Owners of Arkansas, Gun Owners of America, though, they were with it, and they were doing the right thing by the people. It's kind of wild to think that even in Arkansas, back when we were growing up, somehow we had bought the lie that we can't exercise our right to carry unless the government gives us a permission slip to do it. And we bought all that. We bought into the whole permitting system. Well, that permitting system was being used in like New York and other places, trying to weaken their gun laws. And I say weaken because, tried to free the people. And yet all of a sudden politically Arkansas changed, other southern states changed, and we were like, no, actually, we don't need the permit system at all. We just want to give people their pure right to self-defense. And we got pushback, and then you started realizing, and this was maybe kind of a uncharitable take at the time, but I think it probably held true. If every state in America had constitutional carry, you don't need the NRA, and you don't need any advocacy group. So we kind of felt like there was some mission creep going on. This was back when I was on radio, and I was at the Capitol in Little Rock, stumping for things and things like that. But Gun Owners of America, they were always the more consistent organization from a Second Amendment standpoint. And I'm just saying that was my experience. I'm not saying the NRA doesn't do good things. They do good things. But that was my experience. And it's good to see Gun Owners of America stepping up with this suppressor decision, putting themselves as a plaintiff on there. And now people can buy that freely. And now, of course, we're also hearing that, according to the federal government, as long as you're a law-abiding citizen, they consider you carrying in a post office a lawful that's a lawful purpose to carry for self-defense inside a post office. That's a big deal. Big deal. What do you think, Eric?
I think they felt like there was maybe a need to compromise a little bit based on culture and climate of things, and that's not what gun owners do not want compromise.
Yeah.
Because compromise leads to the liberal side of things and those that want to squash gun rights to just eventually take it all away. They want to go farther and farther and farther and farther to take guns away. And people were rightly worried about the fact that, man, this thing could go so far. So I could have people showing up to my home wanting to confiscate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I didn't turn them in myself or make sure that everything was registered. I mean, there was a lot of, and I'm not going to call them conspiracy theories because they weren't, but there was a lot of concern about how far could this gun rights thing go. And then you had, you know, like the NRA feel like we got to give them a little bit, maybe this will keep them at bay. If we compromise a little here, then they'll leave us alone. But I don't think that was the case at all.
Yeah.
It would never have been the case.
Good stuff. I like it. All right, now, folks, it's time for our next segment of the show, and this is becoming quickly, I think, a very popular segment here. Left Turn It Crazy.
Left Turn Ahead.
Crazy. All right, for this segment, Left Turn It Crazy, we're going to go to kind of forgotten about comedian Margaret Chow. I don't know if you guys remember Margaret Chow, but back in the good old days of Comedy Central television programming, she was definitely she was on stand up. I don't know what else she did. She may have even worked for the Daily Show. I have no idea. I don't really remember. I think she feels like she maybe worked on some cartoons or something. But Margaret Chow, back in the 90s, she was like a name. And, if you thought of name an Asian comedian, you would be like Margaret Chow. Like, that's what would have come to your mind back in the 90s. Breitbart News reports that she recently sat down in an interview, and she says that you can't make fun of trans people in your jokes, meaning stand-up sets, you shouldn't do it, because when you do that, it actually takes the lives, murders trans people. Listen to this crazy statement.
Or even like talking about trans people.
Yes, yes.
I think trans lives has become a very big thing in comedy because they want to contest it. They don't understand that when you take trans lives lightly in a comedy routine, trans people die. And they don't have that understanding that like there are real consequences to your actions just because they don't affect you personally, but this will affect a trans person's life. Or even like talking about trans people. I think trans lives has become a very big thing in comedy because they want to.
When you take trans lives lightly in a comedy routine, trans people die. Trans people die? Really? So.
Sorry, Chappelle.
Yeah, I've had to say, gosh, Dave Chappelle's a mass murderer.
Yeah, right.
This man belongs in jail. When Dave Chappelle, and I've said this was back in, what was his first special, 2017, 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, when he did that first special where he made fun of the L's, them G's, them B's, them T's. Oh, I was so thankful. I was like, thankfully, somebody that is insulated like Dave Chappelle is, because honestly, I mean, one of the reasons he was able to do that back when the woke mind virus, the woke sex religion had taken over every institution. Now, the silent majority still was rejecting it, but we were being told that this was what the majority of people believe, that men can become women and women can become men, and you need to celebrate it, and we need to trans our kids and all this stuff. And Dave Chappelle, who was already a very successful comedian, right? Legendary, arguably one of the greatest comedians of all time. That's an arguable point, but some people put him in that discussion.
He's Mount Rushmore. I mean,
yeah,
to
right.
A lot of people.
And because he was black too,
right?
Okay, there was black privilege in here. He was able. Now I know he took a lot of criticism, but can you imagine if it had been like Jerry Seinfeld doing that or something? I mean, so he took some criticism, but he did it, and it was popular, and people were thankful that some guy is literally telling everybody that the sky is blue when we're all being told that it's not, and it was hilarious. It was absolutely one of the funniest cultural moments, or it was very much needed. And, there's been, honestly, a surge in what I'm sure the left would call right-wing comedy. You look at Shane Gillis, you look at some of these other guys where now they're able to, Joe Rogan, they're able to just tell jokes about the left. And so for so long, obviously when I was growing up, you could always tell jokes about Bill Clinton. He was on the left. You could always tell jokes about George H.W. Bush or George Bush or Al Gore. You always tell jokes about them. Think of the old SNL skits. But then something happened where it was clearly, and it was always left-wing coded, don't get me wrong, but you could make fun of both sides in the mainstream secular world, right? Yes. They might not have gone as hard at the left as they should have, but now, dude, I mean, the left is so insane. The jokes write themselves. But there's still those lefties out there who get so offended by it that it's actually facilitating more comedians doing it for the shock value, to make their audience laugh.
Yeah.
And so, the craziness is just literally, the craziness is in the green room waiting to get their shot on stage again, waiting to take over again, and they still believe now jokes are violence, words are violence. It is totally nuts.
Well, because the behaviors are so crazy, they are comedic. So it provides, you see these clips of the freakouts and all this stuff, and because that behavior is just so fundamentally insane to our basic human nature, it is by its very essence comedic and worthy of a joke. And it's not meant to persecute. It's just meant to say this type of behavior is fundamentally hysterical.
And I agree. It is fundamentally hysterical, and you have a situation
because it's just so wild and flamboyant and obnoxious
right.
and crazy. I mean, it's just it's wild behavior. Mm-hmm. It's just ripe for comedy.
I agree, and you also still have the protected class idea where, I mean, and this has been true. There was a blip on the radar where it wasn't true. I think Chappelle kind of shattered that illusion, but there was a point where if you were a comedian and somebody said, you're not supposed to talk about this, well, the comedian would be like, oh, well, of course I'm going to talk about it then, right? Like, that's kind of their job. Like, taboo subjects, it's a challenge to them from an artistic standpoint. And you would really kind of want this resurgence in comedy, people whose main job, your job's to make people laugh, man.
Yeah.
And so they're taking their job seriously. You would hope someday actors would start to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But they won't.
No. And you have organizations like the WNBA and others that just double down. And so they make it worse, and they provide more and more and more comedic material that just, you're going to see that on stage because it's laughable. Like when you see a women's NBA coach with her Protect Trans Kids t-shirt on, getting in front of the microphone, yelling at Sophie Cunningham, who's a hero in my opinion, and then telling everybody that we need to be about love and grace and God and all this stuff, and 5 seconds later is telling everybody to go to hell. Like, when you see that, like, that is comedy, because it's so sick and stupid. The only thing we can really do is laugh at it and lighten the mood a little bit with it. It's just.
What was the name of that coach?
I think it was the Indiana Fever coach.
And I saw this, but I didn't pull it for the show. Is that here right there? Is that the one where she tells people to go to hell?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's throw this up there because
I don't think that's the one.
Okay.
Where she does that, but I mean, just very recently. I mean, that was.
This is it right here, right?
Yeah. There it is. There it is.
Okay, you can tell this is the one.
That's the one.
Will win. Grace will win. Humility will win, and kindness will win. I stand by them. I will always stand by them. Everybody else can go to hell. This is more for...
All right, now, so contrast...
Love will win. Yeah. Everybody else can go. It's just like, do you not expect a good stand-up comedian to hit a home run when
hilarious.
She put that on the tee?
Love will win. Everybody else can go to hell. I'm wondering if that's like... I know this is really weird, but it does make me wonder, like, in the end of all things, when Christ comes back, is that not the final statement? Love wins, everybody else can go to hell. She's kind of right in a way.
I mean, the sports folks just had a heyday with this right here because it was just so ridiculous and nuts what she said, and all the Outkick guys were just like, "Oh, now this is just too much."
No, so this is in response. So we covered this controversy just earlier in the week. I think we covered the fact that NBA couldn't get to a conclusion on what a woman was yesterday or the day before. But I haven't covered this coach at all, so I don't really know what we're talking about here.
So she is
I don't do sports.
She is the Indiana Fever basketball coach.
Okay.
One of their most popular
and is that
most
Sophie Cunningham's
players
coach?
Is
okay.
Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham are on the same team.
On the same team. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm on the same page.
And Sophie Cunningham has been kind of like the enforcer, trying to protect Caitlin from all the abuse that she's getting, and Sophie's now getting her own abuse. It's a crazy situation. It is the WNBA eating their own, and why they'll never be successful is because they're just going to destroy themselves from within.
Right.
And the players are going to act like bitter, angry women. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just it. That's what's happening. I'm not making a judgment call.
It's an all-female.
That is literally what has happened.
It's an all-female workforce for the most part, folks.
Mean girls being mean girls.
Well, that's really funny.
It just
stereotypical. They're just bitter women that don't want each other to succeed.
Horrible. It's horrible.
That's really funny.
And now they're being racist about it and all this stuff. It's disgusting. But the question was asked of Sophie Cunningham about men competing in women's basketball.
I remember that part.
That's coming. I mean,
Royce White, man.
It's coming. Whether those two guys are allowed to do it or not, or the guy from France. Have you seen some of the videos of him?
Yes, we covered that this week.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that guy would be a beast in the WNBA.
Is nuts. Can you imagine him playing in the WNBA?
It'd be hilarious. It'd make the whole league. Honestly, if they let if they would let dudes compete in the NBA, everyone would watch. To just you remember?
But Sophie Cunningham was asked, like, what's your thoughts on this? She's like, well, I think little girls need to be protected. I don't think this is right. I stand up for little girls, and they don't need to be dealing with this in sports as they're growing up competing against boys. And it would
be hilarious if their ratings went up, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like nobody wants. So
she was wearing a support or protect trans kids T-shirt during a game.
And got criticized for it because she's counter signaling Sophie.
Yeah, so now it's just this ping pong of crazy.
Will win. Grace will win. Humility will win, and kindness will win. I stand by them. I will always stand by them. Everybody else can go to hell.
No, you don't stand by them. You didn't stand by Sophie Cunningham when she got absolutely clobbered, and you do not stand by these people, right?
Yeah, stand by your man.
She stands by something.
All right, so here's the deal. This is what I know of the WNBA from a news person when it comes into my feed. Okay, comes into my feed with stuff like this happens, but I'm still not as educated. But the last thing I remember covering the WNBA, Rob and I had just started this iteration of the Paul Harrell program, and they were throwing sex toys on the court.
Oh, yeah.
Big neon green sex toys.
Yes.
And everybody started watching, and there were even bets. Like, you could go to the betting markets and be like, I bet that a purple sex toy is going to be thrown tonight. And people were taking bets on this stuff, and people started watching. Now, that's how boring the NBA is, or the WNBA is, in my opinion, that all of a sudden made it hilarious. And one of the reasons it made it funny, I'm not saying it was right, but is because this league is a joke, and throwing the sex toys out there, because the league there's a lot of lesbians that play in that league. It was a mockery. They were literally mocking the WNBA, and that's why people found it funny. Because again, going back to our previous conversation about comedy and what is sacred, you're not supposed to mock. That's what made it funny. If they actually let dudes who are pretending to be women with mental illness come into their league, their ratings will go up. I think that's 100% a true statement. People will go to watch grown men dominate these women at professional sports.
Which is not what we want.
And no, I don't want it. But it will be incredibly ironic that the only thing to make the WNBA successful is men.
Well, it's it's just one
Sorry,
thing.
I'm laughing at my own
just
joke.
one joke, comedic joke after another. It was at first it was Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark and the feud and the battles that they had. And Angel Reese is a terrible player anyway. She's horrible, and it just goes from one thing to the next. And then Sophie Cunningham comes in as the enforcer to protect Caitlin Clark, who's getting abused by the other girls and getting fouled and hurt and ruined because she's so good. It's like, well, we can't defend her and we can't really play well against her, so let's just hurt her and assault her until she's injured and can't play.
There's a big
like that. That's exactly what was happening and still is happening.
Yeah, there's the racial animosity there for the straight white girls.
Yeah,
for sure, and they're getting abused in the paint because of it. There's no doubt about that. But before we move on from this whole segment is left turn it crazy. By the way, I want to revisit. Margaret Cho. So Margaret Cho, she was the one that said, this, that, you can't make fun of them.
Or even like talking about trans people.
Yes.
I think trans lives has become a very big thing in comedy because trans people.
Yes.
That guy? I don't even know who that is.
I think trans lives has become a very big thing in comedy because they want to contest it. They don't understand that when you take trans lives lightly in a comedy routine, trans people die.
Yeah. So Margaret Cho once went on the late, great Norm Macdonald's show. And Norm Macdonald trolled her and whoever this guy is sitting next to him, and they didn't know it. And they did the meme. Listen to this.
That's the problem when people want to deport all the Muslims from America. They think that they're all part of ISIS when in truth they're not. Not even different in
I can't say my friend's name, but he said his biggest fear.
It's him, by the way.
Is that ISIS or some terrorist group like that would get a hold of a dirty bomb and explode it over a major city within the United States and kill tens of millions of people, because then the blowback against innocent Muslims would be absolutely terrible.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true.
All right, let's do some jokes.
Yeah, that's his biggest fear.
For those of you who don't know, this is a recurring meme where people post. Norm Macdonald is the one that made this, and he did it as a joke to make fun of the left, because that is a lot of radical leftists. That is, that's my biggest fear. Not the tens of millions of people that would die from the dirty bomb at the hands of radical Muslims. Your biggest fear is what would happen when we stereotype all Muslims afterwards, instead of the tens of millions of people dead. It is perfect trolling, and it is one of the greatest jokes of all time, and it went right over Margaret Cho's head. I think I was calling her Chow earlier. I apologize if I was mispronouncing her last name. But yeah, that's the same liberal mentality that's now saying don't make jokes about the trans. Don't do it. Well, people are still going to make jokes. It's not only Eric. It is not only professional comedians that are making jokes about trans people, putting them in their sets, their tight fives.
Yeah.
But they're also just average people on TikTok who are getting in on the trend as well.
Transracial black women like myself have a more beautiful understanding of blackness than cisracial black women. And that's what I want to talk about today, especially because of all the propaganda nowadays telling black women to hate themselves. Someone that chooses to present as a black woman every single day, that's incredibly beautiful. One of the most common questions I've been asked is, are you planning on getting any medical procedures to help affirm your transracial identity, like melanin replacement therapy, things like that? And the answer is no. Trans black women are black women, regardless of what our bodies look like. I don't need to change my skin color, or my hair, or my makeup, or any other physical characteristics to prove to you that I am black. Saying that I need to pass as black is actually trans race phobia. It is TERF rhetoric, transracial exclusionary feminism. 1 second. Oh, and by the way, Free Palestine, my Starbucks identifies as Duncan. Inshallah. Shabbat Shalom. All that good stuff. So I do want to educate everyone on what it means to be a black woman trapped inside a white woman.
Represents as Duncan.
You guys have lost.
You know, we can.
You guys have lost the culture war. You've totally lost. You're not getting it back. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, the comedy is the only thing that can come out of it because it's so crazy. And you know, in the beginning, there was the expectation that there has to be something to affirm, something to be done to affirm what you're trying to do or how you're trying to change yourself or expect everybody to believe that you are. Now there's not. It's just like she said, like the ideology now is like, well, I don't have to do anything to myself physically to prove it to you. I just think that. So you have to affirm it because I think it. I can be white as snow, but you have to affirm that I'm black.
Yeah.
I can be as, ladylike as it gets, but you have to affirm that I'm a dude and that I sing bass.
You can do anything. Honestly, this is the culmination, I think, of...
it was the natural progression down
this is
a
the
road
natural progression.
of the pendulum swinging to this far to where it's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and when I think about like the early iterations of this that set us on the path to where we are, and this may be controversial, but probably not with this audience, but I think of like Disney movies. And even the Disney movies of my childhood that, were like big successes or whatever, like The Little Mermaid, right? That was like this huge success because they took a Broadway format and they put it directly. I mean, they hired literally a Broadway composer. They put it directly into an animation, and it went. And Disney went on this golden age run of these. It was a Broadway musical mentality put into a cartoon, right? But it was always, the characters were always existential, right? First of all, there was always some sort of psychological operation where one parent has to die, or there's already a situation where that's happened. But it wasn't about who you were created to be just by yourself, like as kind of in a vacuum. It was, no, it's existential. I have to find myself. I have to figure out. And it always, in the case of Little Mermaid, it was always about defying your parents.
Yeah.
Throwing off, leading up to the culmination with Frozen, where the big song is "Let It Go." Like, yeah, let it go. Don't worry about expectations. Don't worry about responsibility. Literally, just sin all you like, and they'll still let you into heaven, baby. Mm-hmm. Like, I know that sounds like kind of far-fetched, but if you crawl back up the slippery slope that we're on, messaging like that has just, in terms of, you could call that feminism, has absolutely morphed into what we have now, which is, no, this is my truth. I'm discovering myself. I'm finding myself, and I'm a black trans woman now.
Perfectly said.
So
yeah, the my truth era of our culture,
my truth
of those of that, call it a decade or so, or however, like it really shook people's conscience to then say, God, how many people are we talking about here? What's going on here? Why is this voice so loud, or why is this megaphone seemingly so loud in our culture right now? And once you peel back the onion, and some of these folks got exposed and on video and in public, the way they act and the way they it finally got to the point where after a few years of people being like, this is kind of off topic because I don't really know what's going on. My idea of trans growing up was just like a cross-dresser man who wore dresses.
Yeah, and we called them transsexuals.
And we called them transvestite. It's like these are, this is a very different thing. So it was off limits for a while until, again, getting back to the comedy, until the Dave Chappelles and others of the world got up and said, no, this is actually kind of funny. And here's the comedic side of this, that when you're dealing with these people, this is the way they act, and this is how crazy they are.
Yeah, the absurdity of it all.
And I don't want to just make it funny, because the mental illness and the mental dilemma of this is a real thing, and it is a problem, but it's
got a spiritual root, though.
Yeah, and it's
a spiritual problem,
and
first.
It's exacerbated by a culture of affirmation and of bad parenting and bad hospitals and bad education, and that makes things worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm having this moral dilemma as a teenager or something like that. I need to go get some help about it. It's all the other things that exacerbate that into a huge problem, and then it becomes like this societal thing where we're all having to deal with, and we're like, wait, isn't this like 0.002% of the population we're talking about who like what are we doing?
Yep. The secular culture, I'll just add, will affirm everything. They want to affirm everything except the actual truth, which is that Jesus Christ is Lord. That, we don't want to affirm that. Don't foist that on us. We can foist every other worldview, every other pagan god, every other satanic system. Oh, this is liberty and freedom. But if you stand up and say, hey, I think our laws should mirror biblical principles. Oh! You're forcing your worldview on me. Well, you're forcing your worldview on me. It's not neutral. It's one or the other. Right. I want to finish this lady's video here.
Transracial exclusionary feminism. 1 second. Oh, and by the way, Free Palestine. My Starbucks identifies as Duncan. Inshallah. Shabbat Shalom. All that good stuff. So I do want to educate everyone on what it means to be a black woman trapped inside a white woman's body, trapped inside an Asian woman's body, which is what I personally am, which means I am both trans Asian and trans black. Transracial identities are valid. My pronouns, which are currently ni hao, are valid. All identities are valid. So if you are here to actually listen and learn, you can stay. But do not call me white. I do not identify with my race assigned at birth.
That is so good. Ni hao.
She did say ni hao.
Ni hao. Wow. Quote, one of the comments, quote, your blackness is not just your ability to experience racism. As a transracial white man, I stand with you. I identify as a thin person. I'm trans slender.
See, but this is where it doesn't end.
There
is no end.
Wish I could find that.
There is no end to this, and that's what she's She's just in a comedic trolling sort of way. Like, she's just exposing the fact that like this doesn't stop. And to your point about the my truth culture. That's where we are.
Yeah. Hang on.
Until enough people stand up and say, I'm sorry, but no.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think generally society is kind of doing that now. They're standing up and making a mockery of it and making a joke of it, because it's like, no, sorry.
So it's what's weird here. I'm actually pulling something. I had a thought. How am I going to play this? All right. Here. I'm going to play for you guys an old parody it's an audio only parody about this whole conundrum, the whole fat thing. with identifying as a thin person. I actually wrote and recorded. This was back when I was on radio, and I came up with these parodies. Listen to this. Who's next to Zipline?
Me, and I'm really excited about this.
Sir, I'm sorry. The Zipline has a 350-pound weight limit, and frankly, I do not think it would be safe for you.
Oh, that's okay. I self-identify as 180 pounds, so it's cool.
Sir, that doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm afraid we can't let you ride the Zipline. You're too heavy. I'm sorry.
I can't believe this. I thought we had evolved as a society. I thought this was America, but I guess this is just my plight. First slavery, and now fat shaming.
Sir, again, I'm really sorry.
You listen to me. If you don't let me ride, not only will I sue this company for discrimination, I will sue you for damages because right now my feelings are so hurt and I feel embarrassed because I'm holding up the line.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Watch it, mister.
Look, okay, I'm sorry. I just don't think it would be safe for you.
You don't understand. I self-identify as skinny. So you have to let me ride the zip line. The Constitution says so. I get to define my own reality.
Okay, fine, whatever. Ride the zip line. Mike, let this man ride the zip line.
Thank you. Now watch as my self-identity trumps your bigotry. See you on the other side, racist. Here I
go! Wait for it.
Doctor, thank goodness. What's the prognosis?
Sir, we've done everything we can, and you only have seconds to live.
No, you cannot say that. I do not self-identify as a dead person.
Dude. PHP parody.
You took that one all the way.
I took it all the way, man. I
took
took it all the way to the natural conclusion of this self-identified nonsense, and I did it years ago because I thought to myself, these people are at war with how they were created, and death is going to come for us all, buddy. And it doesn't matter if you identify as an alive person or a dead person. There's something called reality, and eventually, you can deny it all you want, but eventually, reality that you are not okay with is going to smack you right in the face. And that's why I made that parody years ago. And again, that was back when we were on radio. And it'd be kind of cool if I could. I've got so many of these things. It'd be really kind of cool if I could find a way to get
pop into the archives
or try to get AI to somehow make a visual. Because I can't animate it, but it'd be great if it could be animated in some way. But anyway. But yeah, that's old school, man. Haven't done that in a while. So anyway, let's see what else do we have here. Let's see, 43 past the hour at this point. We got Nora. You know what? Let's do a positive. This apparently the Little League World Series has been going on. Is it currently going on like right now? Are you familiar with the Little League? I mean, I'm wondering. I don't do the sports stuff very often, but I'm assuming it's going on because this clip has now gone viral where a coach is walking out trying to give his pitcher, doing a mound talk, trying to get his pitcher to calm down and throw some strikes. But listen to what he said, because we need more of this in this country.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I've known you since you were 8. Not a lot of people get to see the fruit of the labor that you put in. Right? Remember Zacchaeus in the Bible? Someone planted that tree 30, 40 years prior so he could climb up into it. Salvation, we're talking salvation. It's a baseball game, right? Yeah. If you walk the next 5 guys, Jesus is still Lord. If you strike out the next 5 guys, guess what? Jesus is still Lord. Okay? I love you. Have some fun. Okay?
Bro, right?
Wow.
That's the America that we're fighting for. One that knows that we fight, we toil, but because we've got that undergirding us, that truth undergirding us, there's no hill we can't attempt to take. We may not take it, but if we die, we gain, because Jesus is Lord. Man, that's exactly what that little kid needed to hear right then. So, and the whole country got to hear it. So, that's a positive, in light of all the trans craziness, the silent majority, if you will. that is becoming less and less silent and has got to find its voice more and more in issues like this. It's good stuff. We're in a better place than we probably realize in a lot of ways. Here's J.D. Vance. We've got Vice President J.D. Vance. Is that Will Cain? He's talking. He's doing
it's Will Cain.
Okay, Fox News interview. And he's talking about the messaging leading up to the midterms, and I think this is relevant. Listen to this.
And my warning to my fellow Republicans, Will, would be if we don't get this right, don't blame young people for being sympathetic to socialism. We've got to blame ourselves. And I think what is so unique and refreshing about Donald Trump's economic policies is that it's not the same old economic, ideas that you would have heard 30, 40 years ago. He's talking about rebuilding our industrial base, rebuilding the heartland, making our streets safer, making it possible for young people to afford to buy a home. This is how you stop socialism. You don't stop socialism by throwing slogans at people about the free market. As much as I love the free market, you stop socialism by making people's lives better. And that's what we're trying to do.
And that's the purpose of government, is to secure that. And I know that may people be like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, there are different ways. Obviously, like the left thinks the purpose of how to make your people's lives better is to come up with more laws, regulations, taxes, and things like that, right? The other side says, no, we want to make your lives better by, getting that stuff out of the way and, freeing up, bringing manufacturing home and that sort of thing. But, fundamentally, it all comes down to what have you done for me lately? What is my life like now? And, you look at what our country looks like demographically. You look at the H-1B problem that we still have. You look at what we have up in, Somaliland, which is in Minnesota and other places. People are looking at this and they want their country back, and they want the conditions to be noticeably improved, and that's, I think, what he's getting at here.
Yeah.
Senator Langford went on Larry Kudlow's show 2-3 weeks ago at this point, and he was complaining that that Congress was getting so much pushback for not doing anything, because they haven't. I mean, they did the big beautiful bill, but there's a lot that they've left on the table, and they're not passing the SAVE Act. They're not doing all these things.
Yeah.
And Senator Langford from Oklahoma, who just seems like a real squirrely guy, his response is, well, you guys need to talk about socialism more. And it's like, guys, we've known the Democrats are socialists for the last 20 years. Yeah. Yes, they're finally going mask off and claiming it, but we've known that that's what they are. So now all of a sudden calling it what they're calling themselves, that's not that alone is not going to be enough.
Yeah.
So, things like arresting this Southern Poverty Law Center CFO, that's a great start. Arresting these doctors, passing the amendment to outlaw transing kids, things like that would be huge.
Yeah, just these blanket statements.
Also, getting out of the Middle East, a huge one as well. I mean, that's the albatross right now. If we're honest, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what's fractured a lot of this.
As much as we kind of poke fun at the TDS folks, we would be just as deranged to think that all we have to do is just throw arrows at socialism, and that be the thing that wins.
Because the Republicans are in power right now.
Yeah. Socialism is so popular to young people because it is so attractive in speech and in definitions of the Mamdani idiots of the world who know how to charismatically talk about it. Mm-hmm. But it's not good. In theory, in their minds and the way they tee it up, why wouldn't young people that are of voting age coming out of college want to vote for a bunch of free stuff when they're struggling and can't pay their bills?
I mean, have a useless degree that AI is going to take.
They haven't gone through life like I have. They haven't paid taxes for many years and have kids and all these other responsibilities. They don't know that. Mm-hmm. Socialism sounds fantastic to them. Oh my goodness, you're going to give all this stuff away for free? Thank you. Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Speaking of charisma, we were talking about El Sayed the other day and his Blues Clues madness, which was really funny to make fun of. But I warned you yesterday that you can't underestimate his natural virtuoso to attract attention, and he does have charisma. There's no. I'm not going to lie to you and say that.
Right.
So he's a dangerous candidate with dangerous ideas. The America First report has this headline by Terry Newton: Muslim candidate Abdul El Sayed killed over a quarter of the dogs put down in the entire country in 2015. Abdul Sayed, of course, Muslims don't like dogs. Abdul Sayed wants to be Michigan's next U.S. Senator. The progressive darling just clawed his way through a bitter Democratic primary. Now the record he once bragged about is staring voters in the face, and it stinks of blood and feces. From 2015 to 2017, El Sayed ran the Detroit Health Department. That put him in charge of the city's animal care and control operation during some of the ugliest years. According to records obtained by the Daily Mail, nearly 4,680 dogs and cats were euthanized while he held that post. In 2015 alone, the shelter killed 1,988 dogs and 272 cats. That was more than a quarter of every dog put down in the entire country that year. The live release rate sat at a miserable 20%. 4 out of 5 animals that walked through those doors never walked out. A former animal control officer named Brittany Roberts called the place, quote, a dog slaughterhouse, end quote. She filed a whistleblower lawsuit describing cages coated in feces, urine backed up through clogged drains, rats and roaches, sick animals left without care, and dogs routinely killed without being scanned for microchips. She said she was fired for speaking up, and the city settled with her for $63,000 back in 2016. You never know. I mean, a story like this actually could affect people on the left.
Yeah.
I mean, that actually that's a real possibility. All right, now we want to get through, let's see, one more segment. Where did it go? I pulled it earlier. Oh, yeah. Now it's time for Degree in Dumb. This is a segment where, unfortunately, we talk about the education that our kids are getting. Degree in Dumb, go. All right, for this segment of Degree in Dumb, we go to a former teacher of the year says Nashville school leaders are pressured her, according to Brandon Tatum, pressured her to fabricate a student's grades, ban teachers from accurately reporting behavior. Listen to this.
I was teacher of the year at John F. Kennedy Middle School in Antioch this past year, and Blue Ribbon Teacher of the Year for the district. What you have in front of you right now is my resignation letter. I resigned in May. You can read those 3 pages at your leisure, but I've heard a lot of positive data in this meeting, and I just wanted to give you some facts from my firsthand experience. So first, district leaders asked me to fabricate grades for a parent who sat in the office for hours until her daughter's failing grades were changed. It creates false entitlement. What happens when these kids lie, cheat, and cry their way through school and end up as future doctors, police, or politicians? When will you protect the future of our society? Second, that same parent has harassed over 30 teachers. Teachers have filed police reports, and entire school districts have had entire schools have had restraining orders against her. Yet she's still allowed on school property, showing up to field trips her child didn't earn, and filming other students. When will you stop prioritizing parents' feelings over the safety of our teachers and our students? I heard you also mention that we're closing gaps in teacher vacancies. I want the public to know that many of those are filled with uncertified teachers. My third point, HR withheld money from my employee paycheck as well as many others. They took $500 from me specifically, and it put me behind on my mortgage. And then they sent out an email saying that they had to do it to pay other employees. When will you pay teachers what they are owed? My fourth point, the news reports that behavioral issues are down. They are not. We are simply banned from reporting them, forcing us to keep disruptive students in the classroom. Statistics are being skewed to protect the district, not our children. Our children cannot read and write. They cannot do basic math. And we spend 40 hours a week with these students, so we know them better than the district and those fake numbers. Please stop undermining our professional decisions, because honestly, it's breaking the efficiency and it's giving HOA quality. So Dr. Battle, my question to you is...
The time.
Okay.
But
Here we go.
Yep. Got to limit that time.
Yeah.
Got to limit that speech.
Saved by the bell.
Mm-hmm. Every single time. Got to do it. So, yeah, that's the state of our that is the state of our education system. And it leads to scenes like this. And we talked about this yesterday. This is at a local fast food restaurant. Let's see, where is this? In New York City? And this is not just happening in New York City. It happens in a lot of places. Right? Look at this. Lack of education, lack of discipline. And again, this is why real estate prices remain high as well, because people will pay a premium so they don't have to deal with this risk. They will mitigate this risk. And again, this is not just in New York City, but it is funny.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Chipotle's in Chicago.
Yep.
This was a viral trend there.
Yep.
Get dressed up in hoodies, go into Chipotle's and go nuts, ransack the place until the cops get there, and then skedaddle.
And then what a juxtaposition. Here is footage from McDonald's in 1984. Look at this. This is my childhood. Remember when Mickey D's looked like this?
Oh, yeah. Oh, look
Dude,
at
look at the menu. Hang on. Let's back up here. So
$1.48 for a Big Mac. A Big Mac was $1.48.
$1.48. Chicken nuggets, $1.42. 20 pieces. You get 20 chicken nuggets for $4.15. Quarter pounder with cheese, $1.60. Good grief. 57 cents for French fries, folks.
That's a lot.
No. Should we smile?
We used to live in a society.
Oh. For what is it? Oh my God. Friday night at 7? Saturday. Oh, good. And that is I'm the one who's eating. I'm going to tell everybody to come over to my house so they can see me on TV.
I'm just taking it all in. For those of you listening to the audio.
What a nostalgic, awesome era.
Look at the ashtray. Back in the day where you could smoke. You had to light one up.
That, I don't miss that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that right now.
You don't miss that. You don't miss
No.
smelling the burn a little bit.
Don't miss that.
Used to be a proper country though. You remember smoking sections and non-smoking sections?
Remember.
Now that was hilarious.
Yeah.
You tell that to kids now, they wouldn't believe it. It'd be like giving them a rotary phone. I've seen that one where the parents are like, "Hey, here's a rotary phone. Try to, how does it work?" And they can't. It takes them like 15 minutes to figure out how to make a call. They don't get it. They got the 0 right, but then they couldn't get the rest of the numbers right. It was hilarious. But yeah, then you got into the whole secondhand smoking causes cancer, which is, I think, a myth, by the way. But they use that to get rid of the smoking sections. So, what else do we have here as we wind things down? First of all, I just want to thank everybody for watching the show. We can't do it without you. I want to thank you, Eric, for being with us and sitting in on this Friday. And I know you've been busy, man, but we want to have you every chance we get, because the mornings are fun. So
always good to be part of the conversation.
Want to remind everybody, shout out to our sponsors, Red Vive Health, New Horizon Real Estate, Gateway Sight and Sound, Pet Club 24/7, Sherrod Chiropractic. Also, got to remind you that the Paul Harrell program is powered by the Healing Veterans Project. And I want you to really dig into this with me, because, I'm stoked about this mission. You guys know I believe in red light therapy, and I want to get red light therapy to veterans, and that's what Healing Veterans Project is all about, specifically non-pharmaceutical intervention. We've got a list of veterans that have been prescribed life-enhancing red light panels by doctors, but the VA won't cover it. That's where Healing Veterans Project comes in. Just go to healingveteransproject.us, scan the QR code if you want to make a donation personally. Set it up monthly or weekly. We would love that. It would really help us. Also, if you're a business owner, email me, paul@healingveteransproject.us, because we want to connect with your business, a retail business. If you've got a retail business specifically, we want to integrate donation options into your point-of-sale kiosks. So we really appreciate it. That's all the time that we have. God bless everybody out there watching the show, and we will see you guys next week.